Okay, this is just a recap on kind of an all-in-one on everything that's happened here the last 4 months. 4 months ago, I was in our guest bathroom because it was raining real hard outside, and we don't smoke in our house, but because of the weather, I went into the guest bathroom, turned on the fan, lit a cigarette, and um, was on my phone, and I heard someone walking up my hall. It's real distinct. I mean, you just don't mistake that for something else. Um, and so I heard the footsteps come all the way up the hall to the edge of the door, and I looked up because I expected my wife to walk around the corner, and there was nobody there. I looked out of the bathroom, up and down the hall. There's nobody there. Turns out my wife is still in bed. She hasn't even gotten up yet. So that was really the first time I thought something really weird was going on. Um, After that, it was everything. It was tapping on the walls, not just tapping on the walls, it was banging on the walls, like somebody was punching a wall somewhere in my house. Um, Sometimes I would feel the whole house shake, like someone ran a truck into the side of the house or something. I mean, it was just really loud, and it would come out of nowhere. Um, Sitting down in my den, I always sit in the love seat in my den, um, and just relax, watch videos, whatever, and house will be all quiet, and then all of a sudden it's like somebody jumped up in the air and landed on the floor with both feet. I mean, that's how loud it was. And it was just really out of the blue. I mean, it took me by surprise, scared the hell out of me. My dogs were with me one time. I was in the guest bathroom again, smoking a cigarette, and the noise was so loud that my little female dog went straight up into the air and turned around and came down facing the other direction. That's how loud it was. Really, really scared her. And the footsteps are every night, even now. Like last night, I heard them last night. It sounds like someone in sock feet walking around on my wood floors, out, in the middle of the night, out in the den or something. So it's really freaky. But I wasn't really scared of any of this at first, but my dog started doing some pretty weird things that uh, I couldn't explain. They were, when I come up to them and I talk to them, they come up to me and they sit down and they look up at me. Well, they started doing that and there was not anybody there. They would jump down off the couch and run to the kitchen, sit down and look up like they're standing in front of somebody and there's nobody there. So I'm really thinking, all right, there's something funny going on here. I mean, the noise, the footsteps. Now my dogs are acting like they're begging for a treat from somebody who wasn't there. I mean, I'm not losing my mind. I'm seeing and hearing all this. This is happening. So I need to find out why it was happening. And then the next thing that started happening after that was my bed was shaking. And it's not like exorcist shaking where it's bouncing up and down or anything like that. It's real slight. It's like it would feel if somebody came up to your bed while you were asleep or laying in bed and bumped it with their hip. That slight shake. That's what it feels like. It's enough to wake me up. And I was waking up in the middle of the night, every night, like at 3:30, 4 o'clock, 4:30. Usually between 3 and 4:30, somewhere in that time frame. I would wake up. And I couldn't figure out why I was waking up. So one night I stayed up exceptionally late. It was about 3:15, I guess. And I was laying in bed and I felt my bed shake. And so then I knew what it was that was waking me up every night. So putting all that together, the noise and, the banging on the walls and the stomping on the floors, and the bed shaking. Now I'm starting to think that this is probably my house is probably haunted. Now, this is not a foundation home. It's a manufactured home. It was built in Alabama in 1999, so it's not that old. Um, it doesn't really have much of a history as far as I know. So the first thing I started thinking of once I uh, leaned into the haunting um, probability, that it was probably the land, because we're in Tennessee. It's the Trail of Tears. We have a big Native American community out here. I'm way out in the country, so um, while I'm trying to figure all this out, um, I got scratched. I've been scratched 4 times. First time was really bad. I don't know if you can see, probably still see the scars from that. I don't know how that's turning out because I've got my front facing camera on, but I do have pictures. I've got pictures of everything, video, sound files, everything, because I didn't want people to think I was losing my mind, so I was documenting everything. The first time I got scratched, there was also 2 puncture wounds at the end. There was 2 scratches, and on the bottom and the top there were 2 puncture wounds, and they were very clearly puncture wounds. They looked like fang marks. They were about 2.5, 3 inches apart, and the wound went straight in. It wasn't part of the scratch. It was just like something bit me. The really freaky thing about, like, being scratched out of nowhere isn't freaky enough. The second set of scratches was right on top of the scar from the first set. Whatever scratched me did it in the exact same place. I've even got a picture of the new scratch, and you can see the scar from the first one underneath it. So that seems to me to be pretty deliberate. I don't think that's random. But the fourth set of scratches was just almost looked like I went through a thorn bush or something. It was just a lot of little dots, and there wasn't really any pattern to it. It didn't look like scratches, but they weren't there the night before. Now, the second time I got scratched, I was actually awake for it. I was laying in bed. I had just put some self-tanning stuff. Plane taking off. I had just put some self-tanning stuff on my legs because I have skin cancer, so I can't lay out in the sun. So I have to use artificial tanning. So I put some self-tanning stuff on my legs, and I went to bed. So I know that it wasn't there when I went to bed. When my legs started burning real bad, I pulled my leg out, and there was a red mark. It wasn't a scratch or anything. The skin wasn't broken. It was just a red, long red mark. So I didn't know what it could possibly be, so I went to sleep. When I woke up the next morning, I had the scratch, a pretty deep scratch there. So that one happened while I was awake. The other thing that started happening was I started seeing things that I could also photograph. My dogs, like I said before, were really receptive to what's going on. They notice things. They either hear or see or both. And they would stare. They would sit in the kitchen and they would stare at some spot. And so one night one of my dogs was growling and staring, and he was looking into the living room, and I couldn't see what he was looking at. So I took my phone, I put the timer on it for 3 seconds, and I held it out so that I could shoot around the corner. And you can see him sitting there in the picture. and it took a picture of my living room. And so I'm going and I'm looking around the living room and I don't see anything. Now, I don't have any experience in paranormal, so I don't know how to look through pictures or photographs, or I didn't then, and look for strange things. Well, I put the picture on Facebook, and one of my friends said, "Have you zoomed in on the window in your living room?" And I said, "No." And so she zoomed in for me and showed me what you saw. Now, I don't know if that's a demon. Some people said, I think it's probably 50-50 of people saying that it looks alien. I don't know what it is. But my dog saw it, and it really frightened him, and it scared the hell out of me when I saw it. A week later, I got another shot of something else leaning into my window, my living room window, and looking in. Um, I don't know what that was either. Didn't quite look as intimidating as the last one. It's a very soft blue color. So I'm still kind of on the fence about what that one is.